All right, so we got our semester 2 review for their final exam. Okay, so again, I encourage you, if prior to doing this, let's go back, watch all those videos, do all those review for the units, because we're going to move pretty quick through this one here, assuming we've already done that. So which of the following relations does not represent a function? In this case, we have no repeating x value, so that one's good. Here, we see we have no vertical line, test obstructed, so we're good. So the only one is 2, so we're looking at 2 only. I'm going to go to blue, so it's a little easier to see. All right, matching our description, right? So we talked about these. We always like to use that going home or returning first, so that's E. We're talking about being stationary and not moving. That's C. Increasing speed, that means a variable rate of change, so that would be D. Slow, steady pace, and faster, we're looking at A and B. All right. An investigation was done to see if running the air conditioner for different amounts of time each day affected the amount of the monthly bill. Running the air conditioner is, well, it affects the outcome, so that's our independent. The number of homework assignments that a student completes affects their test grade. The test grade is, that's what we're measuring at the end, that's the dependent variable. Over here, plugging in -3. So I'm going to type it in a nice calculatory notation, right? So simplifying by hand, I have -3 squared, that gives me 9. 9 times 1/3 is 3. So I have 3 plus -12, which gives me a -9. Over here, we're plugging in -5, so calculatory notation. And by hand, we got 25 minus 10, so that gives me 15. Okay, we got two functions to work with here. So for a W of 3, that would give me 7 times 3 minus 5. And I'm subtracting, so on a minus, big second term here. So 7 times -2 minus 5. And again, for the calculator, we could use these as parentheses. So I'd have 21 minus 5, which gives me 16. Minus, over here I have -14 minus 5, that gives me a -19. But the negative and negative make it adding. So we're looking at an answer of D, 35. Over here, the distance from home, f of x, that Sam traveled is a function of time. Using the graph f of x, find f of 1. So f of 1 means I'm here looking up. We're at 5. Okay, choosing the correct graph of an equation, looking at a y-intercept of 1 and a slope of -1/2. So no, maybe, maybe, no. All right, so now we want a negative slope. So that means I'm going down from left to right. So our choice is B. All right, we need to get y by itself here. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So I have y is less than -2x minus 4. So I have a y-intercept of -4. No way. No way. Maybe, maybe. And now I need a dashed line because it's a less than strictly. So our choice is C. Which of the following is the equation of a vertical line? Well, we know that vertical line are always x is equal to some number, so our only choice is A. Moving over. What is the equation? Well, it's a horizontal line, so that's y is equal to some number. So I can get rid of A and B, and I see that it's going through -2, so my choice is D. Okay, we're given a table. We need to get the slope-intercept form, so that's y is equal to mx plus b. I'm just going to use my first 2 points. So to find my slope, I have -6 minus -5. And again, you can use any 2 points if you want to avoid the negatives. And I have 3 minus 6. So my m here is going to be -1 over -3, which is just 1 over 3. So I can really quick get rid of choice B and choice D. Now, if I want to plug in to find B, right, so I'm just going to use that point slope form here, since we learned it, and I'm going to use this point here. So I have y minus -6 is the same as plus. My m here is positive 1/3. X, and then it's a positive 3, so -3. So I have y plus 6 is equal to 1/3 x because I'm distributing -1. I'd subtract 6 from both sides, and I'd end up with 1/3 x minus 7 for our equation. All right, moving on over. Looking at standard form here, so we need to do some work. So we got an m and a b, right? So we got y is equal to 3/2 x minus 5. Now, to get the standard form, I need to move my x over, so I'm going to subtract it from both sides. So I have negative 3 over 2x plus y is equal to negative 5. To get rid of my fraction, I'm going to multiply everything by 2, which would give me negative 3x plus 2y is equal to negative 10. So let's see, I have no negatives on these. So to get rid of a negative, we want to multiply by a positive. So if I multiply everything here by that negative 1, that would give me positive 3x minus 2y is equal to 10. So getting all the way to that proper standard form gives us choice B. So we multiply by that negative 1 just to match up with our positive x's. All right. Roger collected 100 pounds of aluminum cans to recycle and plans to collect an additional 25 cans per week. So we got P for pounds and W for weeks. So we're seeing each week something happens. So our total pounds is equal to that initial value of 100 plus 25 for each W weeks. So our answer would be choice D. Using this, we want to figure out how many weeks until we get 425 pounds of cans. So I'd have 425 is equal to 100 plus 25W. I'd subtract 100 from both sides. And then we divide by 25. So 325 divided by 25. We'd end up with 13. So our number of weeks would just be 13. We have an attorney charges a $115 flat fee plus 90 per hour. I want to write our linear equation, cost in hours. So we would have that flat fee of 115 and then 90 per hour, and we want it cost to be by itself. So we're going to choose C. Using this, we had a cost of 745. So we got 745 is equal to 90H plus 115. So for our calculator, let's go ahead and take that 745 and we're going to subtract 115 first. And then we're going to take that 630 and we're going to divide by 90. And we find out we're working for 7 hours. All right. Jamie has a credit card he uses to shop for groceries and gas. Given the graph, which of the following statements is true? In 4 weeks, Jamie owes $1,000. No. In 16 weeks, he owes over $1,500. No. Technically, it's right at $1,500. If Jamie owes over 1,000, then he has used his credit card for 6 weeks. So 6 over 1,000, no. If he owes over 2,000, he's used it for 20. No. So the only one of these that's even close is in 16 weeks he owes $1,500, right? Oh, my bad, I read that wrong. Yeah, so in 16 weeks he owes $1,500. That's the only one of those that makes sense. Okay, so now we're looking for false. After driving for 4 hours, Melanie has 300 left. So 4 hours, 300, that's correct. 200 miles remaining, Melanie has driven 6 hours. That's correct. After driving for 2, she has 400 minutes, good. For 0 miles, she has 500 hours to drive. Well, that's just reading the graph wrong, right? Because this is our distance. She would have 500 hours. At 0 miles, she'd have only 10 left. So it's choice D. Okay, so we're given our information, our graph here. Patty wants to start a garden in her backyard. To use the graph and equation to answer the following questions. If she buys 6 plants, how much was spent? So if I'm looking at 6 plants, we spent 60. If she bought 210, well, 210's not on my graph, so I got to solve. So if we solve this, I would subtract 40 from both sides first. And then we talked about using the reciprocal many a time, so let's go ahead and use it here. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of 10 over 3, which is 3 divided by 10. Or I could multiply both sides by 3, then divide by 10 separately. But we'll end up with 51. Buying 9 plants, how much did you spend? So at 9, looks like we're at about 70. It's 9, 70, right? Now, for number 26, interpolation or extrapolation. Well, this definitely wasn't on the graph, so it's extrapolation. 27, this one was on the graph, so it's interpolation. What questions we got? We got quite a bit. Hopefully we planned a sufficient amount of time for our review here, huh? All right. Going on to here. Which scatterplot best represents the data given in a table? So here we're just picking which scatterplot makes sense. So we're looking at the first point being 10, 2, and the next one being 40, 10. So at a flame of 10, we're looking at 2. That one's good. At 10, we're at 2. 10, 2. This one, nope. So D's gone. Now we're looking for 40, 10. So 40, 10, 40, 10. That one's good. 15, 5. 15, 5. 15, 5. 15, 5. That one's good. 5, 3. 3, good. 5, 3. Those are good. 55, 9. Good. Good. Oh, this one doesn't even have that point for 55, so that one's gone. 38. 38. 30. Oh, this one's missing that point. So we're at choice A. Okay. Here it's asking us to use substitution, so we can go ahead and plug in. So I have 5x minus 4 times negative 4x minus 17 is equal to 5. Oh, so it's 40 plus 28 is 68, right?
No.
Do some combining. Now I'm going to subtract that 68 over. So we get x is equal to negative 3. And when we'd plug back in, we'd find our y. We'll get here. Over here, we got two things solved for y, so we can just go ahead and substitute to set equal. So if I add that over, and then add my, so I'm adding 5 over, then adding 12 over. And then this one, we have two choices of 3, so we got to plug back in. So let's go ahead and use that top equation. We'd end up with y is negative 6. So we're there. All right. Jalen paid $3.75 to buy 3 bags of potato chips and 4 candy bars. Marcus paid $3 for 4 bags of potato chips and 2 candy bars from the same store. We're assuming they're the same cost. What is the price of 1 bag of chips? So we got 2 scenarios. So let's call potato chips X and candy bars Y. So Jalen bought 3X and 4Y, ending up at $3.75. Marcus paid $3 and then he purchased 4 bags of chips and 2, forgot my Y there, candy bars. So again, variety of methodology here, but we have an easier one to cancel because I have 4 and 2. So I'm just going to multiply this bottom one by a negative 2 and use elimination here. With negative 8x minus 4y is equal to negative 6.00. Now we're going to go ahead and add down with my top and bottom equation here. So this will give me negative 5x. Those cancel. Is equal to, when we subtract here, so I have 3.75 minus 6, negative 2.25. And when we divide that by 5, we'll end up with x is equal to 0.45. Now, figuring out what we're solving for here. So we're figuring out one bag of chips, and we happen to call potato chips X, so we're good to go there. Now, if we had solved it for Y, we would just have to plug back in and then find out what our X value is. All right, back to nickels and dimes here. So we've seen this before. All right, nickels and dimes, how much they're worth. And we got a total of 475, so I got 0.05. Let's call my nickels X, and then my dimes worth 0.1 Y. And then it says we have a total of 78 coins. So we need to cancel here. So we've seen this trick in a video before, right? So we want to solve for nickels. So nickels we happen to call our X. So let's cancel our Y's. So to do that, I'm going to multiply this whole bottom equation here by negative 0.1, which would give me negative 0.1x, minus negative 1.1y. And then if we did 78 times negative 0.1, we get negative 7.8. So again, when we use that elimination process, we like to cancel what we need. All right, now if I'm going to go ahead and add these on down, so that gives me negative 0.05x. My y's cancel, and it's equal to 4.75 minus 7.8. So I get negative 3.05. And then dividing by, so negative 0.05 divided by negative 0.05, we get 61. So we have an answer of 61 nickels. All right. We have Henry decides to start a t-shirt making business. He invests $8,050 for a heat transfer and embroidery machine. He spends $275 to buy each t-shirt, and each one sells for $10.50. So we'd write our two equations here. So we have our cost equation, and we have our profit equation. We want to break even, so we know after writing them, we want to set them equal. And again, this video is meant to be after we've done it, after we've worked through the problem, so I'm shortcutting a bit for the sake of time. So first I would subtract that 275 over, so I have 10.50 minus 2.75, and then I would take that 8,050 and divide it by 7.75. So to break even here, we can't sell 1,038.7 and some change. So we got to round up to that 1039. All right. At the Joliet Slammer Stadium, the team charges $12 for each ticket and expects to make $3,200 in concessions. It has to pay its players and all their workers accordingly. Each fan gets a free bat that costs $5 per bat. How much tickets must be sold to break even? So let's think about this one. This one's a little more numbers, right? So let's write it out. So if we're thinking about our profit versus our costs, for my profit here, I'm looking at 12 for each ticket and 3,200 in concessions. For my costs, I pay my players 7,500, and then I'm paying everyone else 2,000, and then each fan gets a $5 bat. So I'm going to set these two equal, so I'd have 12x plus 3,200. And if I add these two together, because they're just numbers, that gives me 9,500 plus 5x. So again, it's a shortcut a bit of the solving here. So let's combine my x's first. So I'll do 12 minus 5. That gets me 7x. And then I'm going to subtract this 3,200 over here. So I have 7x equals 6,300. So I'm going to do 6,300. And it looks like to break even, I need to sell 900 tickets. All right, 37. determine the sequence. We check arithmetic, right? It's not going to work. Or is it? So -1 minus 1, that would give me a -2. And then -3 minus -1, that also gives me -2. So this one is arithmetic, right? We see that pattern continues. So don't be fooled by positive going to negative. Always check. Here I'm checking arithmetic. So I get a difference of 2, a difference of 3, a difference of 4. That's not working. Geometric don't work, so we're looking at neither. Right, let's check where we're at progress-wise. Oh, we're almost done. That actually burned through pretty quickly on these last 2 pages here. All right. So the 52nd term. So we got to write our equation first here. So we know A1 is -9. So if I'm looking to get that A to 52, let's start plugging in. My first term is -9. My common difference, if I'm looking here, I'm going up by 10 for each one of these. So I'd have plus 10. We want the 52nd term in -1. So if I'm typing this in the calculator, here we have -9. So -9 plus 10. Oops, sorry. 10. And then 52 minus 1 is just 51. So our answer, 501. Geometric sequence, find the 8th term. So here I have, and they used A instead of G, but I'm just going to keep using G because that's what I taught it to, was for geometric. So I got -3. If I find the common difference here, it's going by 4. And then we want 8 minus 1. So let's go ahead and plug in our -3 times 4 up to the 7. And we see our answer is D. All right, moving on. All right, I got this year. Your salary is this. You will earn a 3.5% raise every year. So our equation, y is equal to a, our initial value here. And then we're going up by that. So it's 1 plus 0.035. And then we want to go to the 8th power. So let's go ahead and type that on in. $84 and some change, looking like choice C. You spilled a can of Monster on your driveway. The amount of ants in the driveway is doubling every 15 minutes. How many ants will be there after 1 hour if you started with 13 ants? So our equation, we got y is equal to, we started with 13. We're doubling. Now, figuring out what to plug in. So we have 1 hour, but we're in 15-minute intervals. So we have 60 minutes divided by 4, so that interval of time. That means I'm going through 4 of those time jumps. So we have 13 times 2 up to the 4th, 208. So we would go ahead and bar in there, bubble in 208. All right, last 2 problems. So we have our equation, right? We're going to start plugging some stuff in here. So let's go ahead and get our numbers here. So I'm going to go ahead and just pause the video, do these all at once real quick for you guys to, we'll wait, right? Okay, so I got 3 times 2 up to the -2. 3 times 2. And then, okay, so we had 0.75, 1.5. I'm going to start writing these in here. 0.75. And 3, 6. And it'll be 12. All right, let's go ahead and do our other one as well. I'm just going to use 0.5 here. That's going to be the same as 1/2. We got 16, and then we got, oops, sorry about that, we got 8. And then for zeros, we got 4 times 0.5 up to the 0. And then 4 times 0.5 to the 1. And then 4 times, oops, oh boy, 4 times 0.5. We got 4, 2, 1. All right, so we go ahead, sketch out our graphs, right? And then if we're looking over here for our final 2 answers for this entire review, we can see our left equation here. This is going to be growth. And then our right equation will be, I just circled decay when I said growth. This is growth, choice A, and this one over here will be decay, choice B. All right, at this point, if you can do every question on this review, you are in a great place to ace this final exam for semester 2. Make sure you've spent a ton of time prepping for this and be ready to go so we can all end this year with some A's.